Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about this week's TV news. Pilots, series orders, cancellations, renewals, all that kind of thing. That's what we talk about here, that's what we do. The intro's lost a bit of steam, I'm not going to lie, but that's okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's gotten worse every week for the past, year.
We'll move on with our lives. And talk about some of the TV news. Relatively big number of stuff to talk about, mainly because the networks have ordered a bunch of comedies and... Well, not ordered,
is it that time of year?
But they're developing a bunch of comedies. Yeah, you've said it's that time of year like 5 times in the past.
No, but
month
when
and a
they're
half.
really now that they're really developing them, they're ordering them a lot this time, because you keep saying that there's a lot, and I say that at the start of the show, and then there's a couple from each one, but not like the slate that we sometimes get. I'm waiting for.
Okay. Well, we'll get into it. Starting off, Netflix has renewed Black Summer, which was the zombie show that we tried one episode of, and
It was terrible.
I don't know if we thought it was terrible. I thought it was thoroughly mediocre and boring. I don't know if terrible's maybe a word I'd use.
That's fair. It's probably just worse in my memory.
Yeah. It was just thoroughly uninteresting, I guess would be how I'd put it. But so that's coming back. Second 8-episode season, so if you're a fan, congratulations. Lord of the Rings, the show from Amazon, has already been renewed for season 2, which is notable given that they're barely in production for season 1. And not only that, they're having a hiatus after episode 2 of production to write season 2.
What?
Well, apparently this is normal. To me, this sounds like it's when the pilot season. They don't do that anymore, but they still film the pilots quite far in advance.
Yeah.
Even though they've had a series pickup. So it looks like they're doing that so they can then look at their 2 episodes, see if they want to make changes and see if they're liking the direction. But they've been renewed for season 2, and they're going to be writing season 2 in that hiatus as well. So
okay,
that's the thing. So this is your Lord of the Rings prequel.
I'm not too surprised given how much it cost them just to get the rights to do this.
Yeah, and also they actually promised a multi-season commitment when they got the rights. So I mean,
yeah, it's kind of a non-news story in a way, even though it is now a news story. It's because it's officially contractually sorted.
I don't know. Do you think you're getting this before the end of 2020? Because
before this hiatus, I'd have said absolutely. Of course we are.
Yeah,
because they're already writing it. I knew that.
I can give you the time frame of the hiatus as well. It's going on a 4 to 5 month hiatus after finishing episode 2.
Oh, maybe not then. Maybe it'll be early 21, which would be a shame. But I mean, hey.
Well, I mean, let's say they're shooting right now, which they might be. Like the 45 month hiatus could start like next month, and they could be shooting again in April.
Yeah.
Like
depends how much they need to shoot. I mean,
yeah,
depends where they're shooting, what they're shooting. A whole bunch of factors that we just don't have enough information.
Yeah, but hey, so because when I read the headline saying season 1's hiatus is set, I thought what that meant was it was going to release in 2 halves. I thought,
yeah,
that's what I thought it was going to mean, and then I read the text and I was like, oh no, they're just not shooting anymore after episode 2 for a while.
Strange, but okay. I mean, it might still be late 2020.
Because I could have seen a world where they wanted to do like just 5 episodes, like the first half of season 1, 5 episodes, come back 8 months later, get your second 5 episodes. That's season 1 done. I could have seen them doing that, given that they're probably going to have big budgets for these and the effects and everything. But
yeah, I
no,
could have seen that. I mean, whatever. I'm getting 2 seasons regardless. I can wait.
Yeah, and an announcement we kind of were expecting, given all the stuff and other news, but Runnaways is ending with season 3, which is premiering on December 13th, which does notably have a crossover with Cloak and Dagger, which also was cancelled after its 2nd season.
Yeah, it's funny because when we talked about that cancellation, I was in my head convinced this was already cancelled.
Well, given that this news only popped up this week, it definitely wasn't.
No, I know. I remember. I don't know if you recall this conversation.
Vaguely.
But I was like, I'm sure it was. And you were like, I don't know if I'd seen anything. I was like, I could be just imagining it. And obviously I was, because I saw this news earlier in the week. I went, guess I was wrong. But now I'm right.
Don't phrase it like that. You were not right. There was nothing about that was right.
But now I'm right.
I was not arguing that it wouldn't be ending with season 3. I probably said it was likely,
Yeah, probably.
Because given that Marvel TV in general has been swept under the rug, because now Jeff Loeb, or not Jeff Loeb, sorry. Well, Jeff Loeb's gone, but Kevin Feige's got all of it now, and he's doing what he wants. So, and
basically, Disney Plus exists now, so
yes, Disney Plus
through
exists.
Everyone else.
Yeah. Well, interesting compared to The Mandalorian, because we've been talking about how short those episodes are. I believe for the Scarlet Witch and Vision one, she did confirm, when I say she, I mean Elizabeth Olsen.
She said it was about 6 hours, didn't she?
She said 6 hours, but she didn't specify if it was 6 1-hour chunks or. And now that this one is so short, I'm almost thinking, maybe it is like 8 episodes, 9 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, let's say The Mandalorian continues on track, because for what we're talking about, there's about half an hour's worth of content in each episode. It's about 4-ish hours, probably, maybe a little bit over by the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that one's going to be slightly longer than Mandalorian. So maybe it'll be 10 episodes, or if they split them up in the same way. Who knows?
Nah, I mean, they could get 8 like 40, 45-minute episodes out of that. I think that would work.
What's interesting is the way she was like, we're shooting 6 hours worth. Again, even to them, they're just shooting it on as a movie schedule. Like, it's just okay. This is one project, and they'll edit it into episodes how they want later.
Yeah. So next up, we got a premiere date for season 5 of Better Call Saul. It is coming February 23rd. And it's going to air over 2 nights. So we're getting 2 episodes kind of back to back. We're getting 23rd and 24th of February. And presumably 24th is the day it's going to continue on.
That is the regular. So the 23rd, it's following Walking Dead.
Right, and then Monday presumably is the 24th.
I'm just checking that is that it is the 23rd is a Sunday, Monday.
What's interesting about this is that every season of Saul has kind of pushed back a few months, and this of course has been the biggest gap where they're not even having one this year, because we were expecting it starting probably around now, given when the last one started and ended. But what's interesting is this actually puts it full circle, because season 1 I believe started around February.
That sounds about right, yeah.
I want to say. So they've actually they've nudged it out a little bit every time, and now we're back to the same time of year.
Back to the start, yeah.
So obviously we're excited. Better Call Saul is one of the best shows on TV, and
it's slightly disappointing that it's all the way at the end of February, but it's going to be fantastic. So like I was just saying with Lord of the Rings show, like, oh wait, it'll be great.
Yeah, well, our December's packed with big TV, so it's not like we're not going to be occupied for a lot of that wait.
It's true.
Well, yeah, I've not really spoke to you about this yet, but I am toying with the idea of us doing some kind of top TV shows of the decade thing, and I was thinking to myself that Saul will be.
Is this one of those where we come up with a joint list or individual?
Individual, no. I'm not having you influence my perfect list.
Very good. So
how dare you?
Can we wait till the Mandalorian's done so that can take like the number 2 spot?
If that's finished for the end of December, sure, but we're doing it at the end of December.
I actually think it is finished at the end of December.
This is a New Year's treat. New Year's Eve, ideally.
As if our December wasn't busy enough.
Yeah, but there's no TV news for a couple of weeks, so I'll just slot into one of those pouches. Easy peasy.
Just a question on that. Now, I could probably ask you this off air, but I'm intrigued now.
Mm-hmm.
Rules on that, does the show have to have started in this decade, or just had the majority of it in this decade? If it was a show that ran from like 2008 to 2014.
My simple rule for this is that it is eligible, but I would warn that if, let's say it had 2 seasons this decade, and those are the 2 weakest seasons, I would say that you should consider that when putting it on a list for this decade.
Okay.
But if those 2 seasons are consistent with the rest of the show, or they're the best seasons, then
you can just kind of go, okay, that's indicative of the overall quality.
Pretty much, yeah. But if the last season or whatever was terrible, and it's like, well, all the good stuff was in the previous decade, maybe it still gets a shout out at the bottom of the top 25 or whatever. But I've not actually figured out what the number will be yet. But
see how many you want to first.
I'll basically make my list and see how hard it is to get to 50, and if I can't get to 50, then I'll go down to.
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know if I'll have 50. That'll be like, these are great shows.
Well, if I can get to 50, then you can sit for the first 25 entries and wait your turn.
It can be a bonus feature.
So Better Call Saul's coming back February 23rd and 24th, the 2-night premiere event. And not one we watch specifically, but Project Blue Book which did get renewed for season 2, has finally got its release date, January 21st, on History. So that was when we watched the first episode or two of, and it was okay, but we weren't really feeling it.
I think we just did the first one, didn't we?
It may have been. Sometimes it's one of those ones where it could have had a second one, and I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was just the first one, and we thought it was fine. It wasn't terrible, but just wasn't that great for us.
Yeah. So you have that. We also have a premiere date for V-Wars, which is the Netflix vampire show with Ian Somerhalder. There was also a trailer with this. I didn't bother watching it. I didn't ask you to watch it. I felt like I'd heard enough. I'd heard enough. Everyone said it was terrible. Maybe it'd have been funny for us to watch it. I don't know.
This is so unprofessional of you. How long is this trailer?
I have no idea. But leave it for just now. But we'll probably end up watching the first one, and we can suffer it that way.
But hang on. Before we agree to that, when's it coming out?
December 5th. It's before all the other stuff.
All right, I'll let you off.
It's before all the other stuff. We can have a funny V-Wars episode 1 review. It's fine.
If that was in the busy period, I was about to tell you to piss off.
No. It's in just before then. Don't worry. So yeah, V-Wars. Ian Somerhalder, who was already in a vampire show for a long time.
Yeah.
But yes. Visual description as follows. Dr. Luther Swan, played by Ian Somerhalder, enters a world of untold horror when a mysterious disease transforms his best friend, Michael Fane, into a murderous predator who feeds on other humans. As the disease spreads and more people are transformed, society fractures into opposing camps, pitting normal people against a growing number of these vampires. Swan races against time to understand what's happening, while Fane rises to become the powerful underground leader of the vampires.
I hate everything about that.
Yeah, I also hate how it ended 2 sentences in a row with the word vampires. It just felt like clunky. So there you go. V-Wars is coming in December. A Christmas treat of sorts, maybe? No, not really. Next up, Stargirl. This is a bit interesting news. We talked about this on Television for the Multiverse, or DC.
Hang on. Sorry, before you go into that, are you finished with the premiere dates?
Yes, why?
Because there was one big ass premiere date that I am kind of annoyed that you've not mentioned here. Doctor Who.
Oh, I remember you saying to me, yeah. I never came across it when I was doing the news, sorry.
New Year's Day, and I believe that is the start of the season as well, not just a special.
Okay.
Screw you.
You done? All right, okay.
Yeah.
We can move on. Stargirl. We talked about this on Television for the Multiverse, which is our DC TV podcast, where we review the CW shows, which are not very good usually, but I mean, we get through it somehow. But Stargirl has an interesting thing here. Stargirl is a DC Universe show, an original series, which they've got coming 2020. It's been delayed a couple of times, so it's coming in spring. And what's weird about this is that the announcement this week is that they're going to air Stargirl a day later on the CW. So not like after the season's done. I don't mean like a day after the finale, they're going to start airing it on CW week to week. No. Every week, a day after the episode airs on DC Universe, it's going straight on CW for free. And given that Doom Patrol, its best show, is also going to be on HBO Max at the same time when that launches, we had a whole big conversation about this, the value in the service. We won't get into that again. If you want to hear that conversation, go and listen to that podcast. But definitely weird. In context of just talking about it in TV news, it's definitely a new practice to do it with original content like this, and it also raises some questions about how much this fits in with the rest of the CW shows. Does it match those in tone and quality?
Interesting. Since we talked about that, I've seen some rumors that Stargirl is actually debuting in Crisis.
Oh, I actually did see a murmur about this that you bring up.
Would be interesting if that's actually if the show is kind of spinning out of that, and would then give it a reason to why this is on the CW. Although in my mind, that's kind of great advertising, right? Hey, you like Stargirl in Crisis? You like those CW shows? Come and sign up to DC Universe and watch it there. Except
it's airing the very next day, and 24 hours is not a long time to wait.
Even pirates will wait that long.
24 hours is not a long time to wait. It's really nothing. I mean, if it's that ingrained into the CW verse, okay, that's cool, I guess. But like, why was it ever
show?
Why was it ever an original? Maybe the whole idea is that they want to do some more spin-offs that are just on DC Universe, but they've changed their mind last minute. I mean, you know what? We want to air it in CW as well. We want it to be a show in there because CW want another show.
But we can't backtrack on the DC Universe bit because that was that announced right at the start of the service? I think it was.
Stargirl? If it wasn't right at the start, it was early on. It was
very, because it was in that original timeline map of.
Yeah. It was what sort of. I think it was one of the last. It was maybe the last thing before that conference, that con display.
Whatever that was.
Because we were getting them every couple of weeks. Because there was a whole Metropolis one at one point in there.
Wasn't there? That was terrible sounding.
Yeah. So yeah, Stargirl, weird, interesting thing here. What's interesting for us is because we wait to do the whole batch of shows as a podcast anyway. It may not make even a difference to us if it's a daily. I mean, you have the service right now anyway. I had it. I don't have it right now, but I don't mind getting it again.
You could have got it for Stargirl.
I could have got it for Stargirl, but I might not need to now. So, yeah. Thank you kindly. Next up. So we're already on to the new shows. We're at the comedies, right? That was all the sort of the variety of stuff at the start. We're into the shows that are in development now, so starting with the comedies as we always do.
Before we go on, actually, can I talk about something that I saw this week that is relevant to something we watch? Mindhunter.
Mm-hmm.
So season 3, obviously we never got any official renewal announcement or anything like that, did we?
Not as of yet, no.
No. So all the reports are saying it has been indefinitely delayed. Due to other projects that he's working on, because he's got a movie coming out for Netflix, right? I think we've spoken about that before.
Yeah.
So they're not officially renewing it until those are done, and then they're going to take a look at it, I think.
That's a little frustrating, but it could end up being kind of genius if there's going to be time jumps, like if they're actually letting the actors age a few years and then coming back to it.
It might help, yeah.
It might actually end up being the most genius thing ever.
It's just about keeping those contracts going for the actors so that they can get them again when they need them later, isn't it?
It's frustrating though, just from I like the show and I want to watch more of it, because I think overall it's actually one of Netflix's better shows. So
I agree with that. Yeah,
I've got a few that I like more than it, but it's definitely high up there. I like it more than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm saying that I like it more than other ones that I enjoy. I enjoyed Umbrella Academy. I think Mindhunter's better. I enjoyed Lost in Space quite a bit actually, but Mindhunter's better. Notice I'm not saying Stranger Things in this list because I like that more than Mindhunter, but but hey, so yeah, let's move on then to the comedies that are in development. NBC has given a poop pilot commitment to Home.
Imaginative title. I wonder what this is about.
That is such a generic title for a sitcom.
Is it a family comedy?
I mean, let's be honest, Home would be a generic title for anything, but
it's either a family comedy or it's in a care home.
I mean, it'd be a generic title for anything, but it's especially generic for a sitcom since so many of them are just set in a house. So it's a single camera comedy about an American couple who take in a Syrian refugee. I mean, that's more of a twist than I think you were expecting.
I think the title is underselling it.
Second Home maybe would work, or New Home. New Home,
yeah. That would have been better. At least that would have given me an idea of, okay, there's a direction here.
Home Away from Home, I don't know. That probably doesn't work really, but
that's not really.
That doesn't apply in this context. But it's based on a British series, which was created by Rufus Jones, originally on Channel 4 in the UK. Adaptation will be written and executive produced by former Blackish EP Stacey Traub. So, where are we? Home follows a new couple, Mark and Melanie, who go on a long weekend trip to a cabin in the woods. Ooh. With Melanie's son Jonah. They're planned to come back with a tan and some happy memories interrupted when they return with Jay, a Syrian refugee who moves in with them, and the cobbled together family soon discovers what home really means. So it's not a bad premise. They make it kind of sound as generic as possible in that description, but
especially as it got towards the end where they find what home really is. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, but that wasn't a terrible idea.
It's a nice enough concept, though. I worry because of how generic that description was.
Next up, NBC's put in development Private Dickersons, a single-camera comedy from writer David Young, who worked on Carpool Karaoke, which, I mean, how much writing was involved in Carpool Karaoke?
I mean, generally speaking on those sorts of shows, they are very heavily scripted, but, I mean, still.
Yeah. That doesn't exactly fill me hope for a sitcom, no. It's a different type of writing.
Yeah.
Like writing something that you're trying to fake as being authentically off the cuff is a bit different from.
It's a great skill in itself. Don't get me wrong, and it is an art to do it well, but it is very different.
Yeah, and it's debatable if it even should be done in the first place. Like that, if you actually have talented people who can just talk, you don't need to write their script for something like that.
No, that's fair. But I mean, there are examples of it. Like, I love Top Gear. The original trio Top Gear stuff. 90% of their stuff is scripted.
Really?
I think it comes off really well in terms of it comes off as feeling real, but it's very scripted.
Well, because to give you some wrestling insight here, just to make a comparison that I can really kind of get into, is there's a big problem where a lot of their promos, which is them talking on the mic, right, is scripted, where they're doing their story bits in between the matches.
And they shoehorn in really awkward lines.
And they have really awkward lines. They try to get over like memes. They try to get over like things they can put in a t-shirt and all that. And it's really stilted. It's really awful. Partly because wrestlers train being wrestlers, and then the acting part of it is kind of like a secondary thing. It's kind of an add-on that you just have to do as well.
From the odd handful of them who are quite good at it and then tend to move into other things.
But what actually makes good promos work in wrestling typically is that you give them the idea, like, okay, here's the plot beat you have to get across. You have to make sure you mention these 3 things, but let them just say what they want to say. Let them do it naturally. But in this new company, AEW's been letting the wrestlers do that, and every single time they've been on the mic, it sounded way better. It sounds way more natural because they can just be themselves. A big part of, because they're not all great actors, what gets them across as proper characters on screen is letting a lot of themselves just be part of it, rather than intentionally putting on a completely different type of personality.
No, I get that. I can relate to that. Like, if like back in uni when you had to do like a presentation or something. And some people like give you a full script of things and go, here, read this to the hall. And I'm like, I can't do it. I just cannot do it. Tell me the bullet points you want me to talk about, and I could spend 8 minutes rattling off shit. No problem.
Yeah.
You give me exact words, I just freeze.
So, yeah, but regardless, in Private Dickersons, written by Young, in order to inject some excitement and spontaneity back into their marriage, a bored couple who spends every night watching true crime shows such as Dateline NBC in 48 Hours decide to take matters into their own hands and try solving local unsolved crimes.
That's where this was going. I knew it.
I appreciate the title more now that I've read the description, I have to admit.
Say the title again?
Private Dickersons.
Okay, yeah. That has potential to be fun.
Yeah, as a comedy, that actually is a pretty. I mean, yeah, even as a drama, it could be okay, but like as a comedy, that definitely has potential.
I forgot this was in the comedies. I think as a drama with a comedic angle, I think that could be fun. But as a straight up sitcom, that could be great.
Yeah. Next up, Holly Hunter set to star alongside Ted Danson in NBC's new untitled LA Mayor comedy from Tina Fey, Robert Carlock in 3 Arts Entertainment. So I guess that's what Ted Danson's doing after Good Place wraps up. He's got another comedy in the works. So the project, which is untitled right now, stars Danson as a wealthy businessman who runs for mayor of Los Angeles for all the wrong reasons. Once he wins, he has to figure out what he stands for, gain the respect of his staff, and connect with his teenage daughter, all while inhumanly controlling the Kyoto population.
Okay, 2 things.
Humanely, one, yes. Yes, it is.
That wasn't what I was going to say. I was going to just let that slide.
I caught my mistake, but I'm correcting myself.
Okay. 1, was that private and personal?
Gain a respect for his staff and connect with his teenage daughter. Yeah, I'd say it is. Because his teenage daughter's personal. That's not professional.
Yeah. Okay. 2, wasn't it like last week or the week before we had one about someone becoming mayor and not really knowing what they were doing because I made a Nice Town joke?
That sounds right. But Ted Danson was definitely not involved in that one.
Ted Danson was not involved in that, which makes this immediately more interesting.
Whoop, there it is.
But I'm just like, what is this as a theme? We talk a lot about how we get themes each season of recurring ideas, but people becoming mayor who didn't really understand the full extent of the job isn't what I would have predicted. Although, as I'm saying, this,
given the president
realizing,
right now,
literally as I said that loud, I went, "Oh, I get what they're doing now."
Yes, given the president of the US right now, I feel this is actually quite realistic. So you know what? Fair play.
It was literally as I was saying it, I was like, I understand, and I'm going to have to get to that at the end of this comment. Otherwise, YouTube comments are going to crucify me. But here's the drink. I had some poured already this time. Sorry, so it's not straight out of the bottle.
That's fine. I've already got my gift for you taking a swig out of a bottle. It's fine. Next up,
I'll give you a better one than that.
ABC's put in development Once More, a single camera, half-hour comedy from Superstore creator Justin Spitzer. Sean Hayes and Todd Milliner's Hazy Mills. That's another one that's popping up a lot recently, Hazy Mills.
Yeah.
So, written by Jack Moore, who's worked on Queen America and Dear White People. Once More revolves around Will Wilde, a 45-year-old sad sack of a man whose life has not turned out how he'd hoped. That is until one fateful day when Will makes a wish and wakes up to find himself back in his childhood bedroom. It's 1999, and Will is 12 years old again. Only now, he has all the knowledge and memories of his 45-year-old self. Wait a minute, hold on, I'm confused with the timeline here. Is this set in the future to begin with? Because that's only 3 years older than me, and I'm not even close to my 40s yet.
I mean, did it specify?
Well, it said he was 12 in 1999.
Okay, sure.
So that's 3 years older than me. Oh, no, 2 years older than me, sorry. Because I was 10. I was 10 in 1990, right?
Yes, you were.
Yes. So this has to be set in, when will I be 45? Another 15 years, right? We're 13 years in the future, given the 2-year difference. We're 13 years in the future at the start of this.
Yeah, let's knock those couple of years off.
So anyway, yes. So with the help of a Wonder Years light narration from his adult self, Will tries to sort out how he ended up back in the position and how to be the best handle getting and what he's always wanted, a second chance in life. It's high concept. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little too high concept for a sitcom TV show, just you're running regularly, but yeah, it can be done, but not all of them can pull it off.
Yeah. But no, it's got more of a premise than some of the other ones.
No, definitely. It's obviously just more interesting because there's something different going on. It's not just, hey, this is a family comedy, this is a workplace comedy, this is something not unique entirely, but at least right now in the sitcom sphere.
Next up, ABC's handed a pilot commitment to Valley Trash.
Love it.
Valley Trash. Single camera family comedy from speechless writer-producer Nikki Schwartz-Wright. And from the first episode of that, I'm mainly interested because I liked the first episode.
I've seen the first season and it was great. So, I mean, so far so good.
I have to go back and watch all of Speechless because I'm pretty sure it's over now, right? I'm pretty sure that ended.
It was only like 2 or 3 seasons, I think, in total.
Yeah. Written by Schwartz-Wright in Valley Trash, when 14-year-old Abby gets accepted into a prestigious private LA high school, neither she nor her hard-working, financially strapped parents are prepared for the culture shock they're about to experience when Abby is thrust into a world occupied by a bunch of brilliant, snobby rich kids who want nothing to do with her and her family or their 818 area code.
I feel like it got a little in the woods there with the area code thing at the end, which I'm sure means things to people who know. But...
Yeah, I'm sure if you live in LA, that means something to you, and it's like, that area. But...
Yeah. The rest of us, maybe that just didn't need to be there, but whatever. I like Valley Trash. I think that's a good insult.
Yeah.
Just call people Valley Trash. It's got a nice ring to it.
There you go. So. That's Valley Trash. Next up, still ABC. They've got a lot of comedies in the works, apparently. ABC's put in development Text Me When You Get Home.
Hey, it's a interesting title. It's unique.
Well, it's better than just Home. I'll give it that.
Yep.
A single camera comedy based on Kayleen Schaefer's book from American Housewife writer-producer Lauren Caltagirine. So Modern Family star Julie Bowen and Bowen and Sons production company with ABC Studios. So she's not going to be in it by the sounds of it, but maybe she will end up because Modern Family can't be going much longer, is it? I think it's got.
I think they announced it was ending.
Yeah, but I think they announced it was like 2 more seasons. It was like it's ending with season 12 or something like that. Yeah. So written by the person I said already because the name's too long and I'm not going to try it again. Text Me When You Get Home explores the unique and complicated bonds amongst women who grow up but never grow apart. Even when you're married, friends completely forget what it's like to be single and try to set you up with a guy who has no neck.
Okay.
Well,
sure. I mean, could be fun. Who knows?
Yeah. What constitutes as having no neck, I wonder?
Some people do just have really short, stubby necks.
I'm trying to picture a guy with no neck in my head, and I'm just like this.
Yeah, like that, like head hunched into the shoulders. That's what it looks like.
Hey. Can I buy you a drink?
I like how we both just went like that. Sorry, audio listeners.
Yeah, sorry, audio listeners. You got to see. Go to YouTube. Next up, ABC. Once again, ABC's on a roll this week, apparently. They've given a script commitment plus penalty to The Turners. Obviously, it's a family thing. A half-hour single camera comedy, autobiographical family doctor's comedy from writer Naomi Ek Peregrine. That's not actually that bad. Ek Peregrine, yeah. Vilmer Vladarana. I actually quite like that name. Valderrama. It wasn't. I thought it was an N at the end. It's an M. Valderrama. That sounds like I don't know, like a disco or something. Come with the Valderrama. Fun name.
It's kind of like someone was a really big fan of Voldemort, but thought, can't name them that.
Yeah. The Turners is a close-knit family of black doctors faces in The Turners, a close-knit family of black doctors faces major changes when recently retired parents decide to get back into the workforce. So they're not retired for long then. Recently retired, get back into the workforce. Now, 3 siblings at the height of their success are forced to work alongside their parents and assert their independence everywhere from the emergency room to the living room. Take a drink.
I'm having one for that.
That was a good one. That was a really nice sort of other phrasing of it.
But they knew exactly what they were doing. They went, "Oh, we're going all in on this."
Yes.
I feel like at some point these are being written just for me. You know, oh, we're gonna give them a good one here, where it feels like it's got a flow to it, and we're not gonna do it, and then we'll just sneak it in at the end.
Next up, Fox has put in development Every Other Weekend, a half-hour single-camera comedy from Adrian Carter, from Everybody Hates Chris. So, written by Carter, Every Other Weekend follows 4 single mums who try to reclaim their fun, sexy selves 2 weekends a month after discovering that their custody weekends are in sync.
Okay. So they got weekends off together at the same time, essentially.
Yes.
So they can go off and do stuff.
That's what it sounds like. So, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Next up, Fox has put in a development single camera comedy, workplace comedy. I said comedy more times there than I should have. From writer comedian Scott Eckert, Cobra Kai creators John Hurwitz, Josh Held, and Hayden Schlossberg. So, and their Counterbalance Entertainment. So maybe that's one we'll become familiar with over time if we keep hearing it. Written by Eckert, the untitled Scott Eckert comedy is a workplace comedy centered around the misfit crew of a nuclear submarine.
Okay, it's different.
I mean, we just watched Crimson Tide today, so that's kind of funny to read that.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. But I mean, even so, it's different.
Yeah, I know it's a different type of workplace comedy. What's interesting? I mean, obviously, all these sitcoms have sets that are built for everything anyway, because they just always use those 1 or 2 sets. But this one has a really specific set because it's a submarine instead of
It's different, yeah. It's going to be all professional and all personal. Like they're always at the workplace.
True. Next up, CBS has put in development Who Gets Dad, the multi-camera siblings comedy from Last Man on Earth writer-producer Liz Kakowski. That's a fun name, Kakowski. Written by Kakowski. Who Gets Dad revolves around the adult siblings who reconnect when they are forced to share custody of their aging father. So it's a custody thing, but with a parent, which I'm sure there's been a thing before. But Last Man on Earth wasn't bad. So maybe
I liked the first season, which is what I watched. I didn't watch any more of that.
I wasn't super into the start of it, but I liked it a little bit more as it went on. And I think I remember watching some of season 2, and maybe one of the early episodes actually make me laugh a lot. So I think it was getting better. I should go back and watch the rest of it.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't dislike it. It was fine. I just, didn't have the time to watch it, and it wasn't a priority.
Sure. Next up, CBS has put in development a multi-camera comedy from quirky female protagonist Adrienne Rose White. I've never heard that, but I like the title. And Ali Chan. Sin City Saints co-creator Chris Case. My God. It's because his name's Chris. I kept thinking there was another CH at the start of his second name.
You were determined to add a H into his name there.
Chris Case.
You really struggled even then, didn't you?
And Cedric the Entertainer, also one of the producers. So it's an untitled, the Untitled White Chan Case Project is called in this article.
That's a mouthful.
Revolves around two young women who hatch an outrageous plan to raise capital for their new sports app after repeatedly being turned down by investors.
It's two broke girls. Again, I said this again like 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had a comedy that was exactly this, where their whole thing was they were trying to raise money for cupcakes. I'm sure it was cupcakes. This is the same, just it's an app now because apps are trendy and cupcakes are out now, apparently. And I mean, but hey, it could be a better version of Two Broke Girls.
Cupcakes never go out. And first of all, I think it was a cupcake business, not just to get a packet of cupcakes, because if they were that broke, then they're in real trouble.
You're right. Yeah, that's true.
We're going to raise some money.
Business.
We're going to raise money for some cupcakes. Go fund me. I want some cupcakes.
It's like your charity bake sale at work.
Oh dear. So CBS is developing an adaptation of a British comedy called Ghosts with New Girl co-executive producers Joe Port and Joe Wiseman. This is the first project announced after a wide-ranging deal struck between Lionsgate and BBC Studios. So they're adapting a BBC One series as a single-camera comedy with Port and Wiseman writing and executive producing. The oddball comedy follows a young couple whose dreams come true when they inherit a beautiful country house, only to find out it's both falling apart and inhabited by many of the deceased previous residents. So we're going to have like fun-friendly ghosts popping up and talking to them, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which
that could be fun.
Yeah, that sounds alright. Honestly, I'm surprised there's not been more of that as a premise for comedies.
Yeah. I'm surprised Fox didn't do it as a buddy cop thing, but one of them's a ghost.
I'm sure they've done a ghost. I'm sure they've done a ghost buddy cop thing before.
I don't recall it, but they probably did it in everything else they were doing.
Yeah. Next up, Michael B. Jordan is heading to HBO Max. He's producing a comedy with actor Alana Mayo. It's called Fashionably Black, and here's what it's about. Set in the world of haute couture. I'm probably butchering that. It's a couple of French words.
Almost certain you are, but it's French, so who cares?
Haute couture. The comedy explores what happens when you actually put a black woman at the top spot in fashion. Oh, wait, this is a film. Never mind. Let's back out of this. The stupid Deadline putting this in the TV section. How dare they?
This is shoddy, sloppy work from both of you, frankly. Deadline for putting in the wrong section. You for not doing enough research.
I skimmed it, admittedly. I just didn't see it said this film. I thought it was a TV show, and that's why it was in it. Look, just because on HBO Max doesn't mean it's TV-related. Deadline. Yeah,
Deadline, but also Pete for not checking properly.
Shut up, you filthy ginger. Moving on. Showtime. We're on now. They've picked up a pilot to Big Deal, a half-hour single-camera comedy co-created by and starring Emmy-nominated Saturday Night Live alumna Vanessa Bayer. And the Big Sick director, Michael Showalter, is going to direct the pilot. And the Big Sick's a good movie, so that's
also, how are we still on comedies?
We're still on comedies. The showrunner is Jesse Klein, who's an Emmy winner, so that's cool. Big Deal is a grounded comedy in which a woman overcomes childhood leukemia to achieve her long life dream of landing a job as a QVC host. That is delightfully specific.
That is a dream you can only have as a child who cannot go outside during the day. You know, you're watching school or you're stuck watching QVC.
Yeah, you're watching QVC. Yes, that's pretty funny actually.
They should have had Jerry McCall on, frankly, but whatever.
That's pretty funny. And then, sort of bridging the comedies and the dramas here, we have an animated show. Netflix have teamed up with Oscar-nominated animation studio Tonko House for an animated series based on Japanese folklore. The streaming services commissioned Oni, that's capital O, capital N, capital I, created by Daisuke Dice Tsutsumi, former art director of Pixar. So the series, which will feature a hybrid of both stop motion and computer generated animation, is set in a world filled with oddball gods and monsters of Japanese mythology. It follows one of the creature's free spirited daughters, Onari, determined to follow in the footsteps of the mighty heroes of lore, but her unique powers are yet to be revealed. Does she have what it takes to protect her peaceful village from the encroaching presence of the mysterious Oni, who threatens the gods?
I'm way into this.
Yeah, I figured you'd be.
I'm just trying to see what Tonko House had done. You know, it said Oscar nominated, and I'm like,
oh sure.
I've just thought, oh, maybe I'll see what they've done.
Yeah, Tomko with a K.
Yeah, I've got that projects. They've got a website. It's a terrible website. The website has just shown me a bunch of short films. So it might have been a short thing they were nominated for, which I typically don't pay enough attention to. So
yeah, sure. Animated films get Oscars. That's the thing.
yeah, no, they do. But I tend to not pay as much attention to the category, even though it's perfectly valid for them to have those awards.
Yeah,
I just don't watch them very much.
So, before we go any further, let me thank the Patreon producers of David Short, Alison M. Fordas, Cindy Palacios, Tyler Hess, and Talking Superman. Thank you for being Patreon producers for the month of November. They are patrons at the $20 tier or more, and you can go to patreon.com. You can support us, not for that much if you don't want to. You can support us for as little as $1 per month, and you get some bonus outtakes and tangents. You get bonus episodes of some of our movie podcasts, and a few other things. Go and have a look, and then you get voting rates at the $5 tier, and there's other things higher up, of course. So go and have a look at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support us financially. So we're at the dramas then, finally. After about 10 comedies, something like that. That was a lot.
There was quite a few actually, way more than usual.
Yeah, and maybe an accidental film that I might have edited out and you will never have known about.
I hope he didn't, and he looks like it.
The Vikings saga will continue on Netflix. They've picked up a spin-off called Vikings Valhalla, a sequel to the hit series that is headed into its 6th and final season on history. I think calling that a hit series is a bit of a stretch.
I think it is. What I think is interesting about that is, it's heading into its 6th and final season, which is true, but this is one of those where they split the season in 2 parts. So yes, we're getting a 10-episode first half of a season in December, but there's still another 10 episode, basically another full season coming later, like, probably in another year or so's time, maybe towards the end of the year.
Yeah. So apparently Netflix have ordered 24 episodes, which I have to think will be 3 or 2 seasons.
I think it might be 2 based on, so History have been doing 20-episode seasons and, cutting them into part 1 and part 2. I would not be surprised if Netflix are doing that, but with 12s.
But there's so many shows on Netflix now that have 8 that I could see it being 3 seasons.
I could as well, especially when you get to the description. It sounds like it could be pseudo-anthology.
Oh, here we are. So written and executive produced by feature writer Jeb Stewart, who worked on Die Hard and The Fugitive. Those are some old credits, but hey, notable ones. Vikings Valhalla begins 100 years after the original series concludes and dramatizes the adventures of the most famous Vikings who ever lived. So the first series was about the nobodies, the jobbers, the assholes.
It was about the legend, essentially.
Okay.
Ragnar Lothbrok, I think I'd say.
So Leif Erikson, Freydis, Harald Harada, and the Norman King William the Conqueror, also a Viking descendant. These men and women all blaze new paths as they fight for survival in an ever-changing and evolving Europe. This is the explosive next chapter of the Vikings legend. Yeah, sure, whatever.
Which is why I say I feel like this could be kind of an anthology thing. It could be like 3 or 4 seasons. Each one of those characters that they just talked about there gets 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah, interesting that Netflix are continuing other shows, although not necessarily doing more seasons. Just like, hey, we'll do a continuation as a spin-off. We'll do, something else.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. It feels in line with what they're doing with the Breaking Bad movie that we just had.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know. I know they had a pre-existing deal about with regards to Breaking Bad anyway. But it feels like okay, that was kind of entirely on them, and this is like that.
Yes, and of course though, nothing compares to the better spin-offs of TV, which is Better Call Saul and Angel, of course, the spin-off of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
This could be better. You don't know that yet.
It won't. Don't pretend.
It could be. Vikings is pretty good from what I've seen.
Next up, Netflix has given a straight-to-series order to Maid, a female-driven dramedy inspired by Stephanie Land's New York Times best-selling memoir, Maid, Hard Work, Law, Pay, and a Mother's Will to Survive. Why is it book titles are always so long? And
I'm honestly, throughout that description, I was like, is this Maid as in M-A-D-E or M-A-I-D?
M-A-I-D, just to clarify in case anyone was confused. I'm sure the description in a minute will make
clarify
it clear.
That a bit more. But at that point, it could have been like, as in a self-made woman.
Yeah. The project is from writer Molly Smith Meltzer, who worked on Shameless and Orange is the New Black. So obviously someone whose Netflix has already dabbled with. Also Margot Robbie's company, Lucky Chap Entertainment, is producing as well. I
That
saw
one pops up a lot, doesn't it?
I saw a photo there. I was like, why is Margaret Oswald? She must be producing it. I'm going to go check again. Yeah, she's producing.
That if she was in it, that would have been in the headline.
It would have been. So, written by Meltzer, Maid will chronicle a single mother who turns to housekeeping to barely make ends meet as she battles against poverty, homelessness, and bureaucracy. Told primarily through her point of view, Maid will be a beautiful, alive, gritty, and inspiring exploration of poverty in America.
Sounds thrilling. No, I'm sorry. I mean, it could be very good. I'm being a little facetious there. I don't know. They kind of really glorified that for look how for it being about showcasing poverty, which don't get me wrong, is a perfectly good thing to do a show about. Just the wording there kind of felt like they were really glorifying it. It was weird.
Next up, Netflix has closed deals with Robert Towne and David Fincher to work up a pilot script for. Hold on a second. Is this a TV show or a movie? Let me just double check this before I before I continue this.
And more importantly, why is he doing this shit instead of Mindhunter season 3?
Oh no, it says in the headline pilot script. Oh, we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, you literally just said pilot script.
Yes, it is. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. It's because it's a prequel to a movie. I doubted myself because I've already made the mistake once today. I was like, oh no, God, have I done it again? Is it another movie? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, pilot script for a prequel to Chinatown, the Roman Polanski film, which of course. Roman Polanski, not a particularly loved name in the world, typically. So Fincher will be executive producing along with Towne and Josh Donen. The idea behind the prequel series would be to focus on a young Jake Getz, played by Jack Nicholson in the film. I'm probably mispronouncing that last name. Getties, maybe? I've seen it once, but it was a long time ago. And
who cares?
I'm not going to lie, it was kind of boring, if I'm honest. So, as he pales his business in a town where the wealthy and corruption involves areas like land, oil, and gangs. The hope is that Fincher might direct the pilot, but that is not part of the deal, which at this point covers the pilot script. So yeah, Polanski directed the original, of course. There was a sequel movie called The Two Jakes, some years later, which no one ever really talks about or remembers, so I assume it's just kind of forgettable, but
yeah,
never seen it myself. So
I think Fincher should say, yeah, I'll direct this episode if you give me like 5 more seasons of Mindhunter right now.
He can leverage, let him leverage his talents a bit,
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Next up, Parks and McDonald, which is a company, have acquired the television rights to 2 titles from Cynthia Hand, Brodie Ashton, and Jodie Meadows' New York Times best-selling novel. So this is the first one, My Lady Jane, and then the forthcoming thriller novel, People Like Her, by Ellery Lloyd. So they've got 2 books for TV rights. My Lady Jane won one of Publishers Weekly's Best Young Adult Books of the Year in 2016. Is a comic supernatural tale of true love and high adventure set in an alternate England in 1553. A country on the verge of civil war. The planned series takes the tale of one of history's most tragic heroines, but reimagines it with an uplifting twist. The damsel in distress saves herself, and then the kingdom.
Okay. I mean, could be fun. I feel like Pete's not a fan.
I didn't make it sound so sarcastic I was reading that, but I couldn't help my disinterest slip through.
It was slipping in quite a bit, wasn't it? I'm down for it. I mean, it's generic enough sounding. It didn't sound particularly thrilling, but
yeah,
it'd be all right.
Gemma Burgess is going to write the adaptation of My Lady Jane, and then People Like Her by Ellery Lloyd is a pseudonym for husband and wife writing team Colette Lins and Paul Vlitos. It was picked up in a preempt in the US by HarperCollins. It was acquired in a competitive 5-way auction by Mantle Macmillan in the UK. I'll be honest, I was expecting that paragraph to turn into a description, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered finishing it. But once I'd gotten halfway through it, I thought I may as well finish the sentence now.
This is why he's supposed to read things first.
Shut up. People Like Her is a contemporary thriller set in the world of social media influencers and the power they have over their loyal followers.
Are we sure we didn't talk about this like 2 weeks ago?
Instamom, Emmy Jackson.
I hate this. Instamom. Oh no, I can't. I can't.
Instamom Emmy Jackson has perfected the art of curating her personal life into a relatable content for her millions of followers. However, behind the scenes, there is a different story. Her marriage is falling apart. primarily due to their constant bickering over the role that their children play as part of their brand, or her brand, along with the adoration and love she receives within her social media community. Also comes the online haters. One in particular has a dangerous resentment for Emmy and will stop at nothing to ruin her. This would be more appealing as a comedy, I think. This sounds like more of a drama? I don't know.
Yeah, no, as a comedy, I probably wouldn't hate it as much. They could be very satirical with the concept of the Instamum.
And I don't know, talking about her brand and then sort of mixing in her husband and kids, that's kind of personal and professional. I don't know if you want to argue that.
They didn't actually hit any of the actual lines for it.
Like,
They were kind of, I was braced for it when they said, she was dealing with her personal life early on, in the middle, I think, but just before it went on to talking about the husband and the kids. There was a specific line where it said personal, and I was ready for it, and it never followed up.
Next up, Harrison Ford will make his series regular TV debut, or at least he's attached to this anyway. It's called The Staircase. The reason why I actually did read ahead in this one, and I felt like that opening actually kind of misleads it, is it's a done deal. He's already signed completely. It's just they're hearing that he's on board, but it's not official yet.
Okay.
But the show is called The Staircase. It's a drama series from Annapurna TV. Based on the 2004 documentary series that Netflix began streaming last year. So the original docuseries focused on Michael Peterson, the author, who was accused of murdering his wife in 2001. He claimed that she'd fallen down the stairs in their home, but police investigated her death as a homicide and named him as their lead suspect. So it's been shopped around networks and streaming services right now. If Harrison Ford is attached to it, though, I feel like they'll pick it up quite quickly.
Oh yeah, I guarantee that. You gotta go, we can have a TV show with Harrison Ford and top billing. Yes, we'll take it. How much do you want? Or more accurately, how much does he want?
How much does he want? He wants a new plane.
I was just about to crack that same joke.
I want a new plane.
I feel like they'd quite happily shell out for that.
Piss off. Harrison Ford. It's not very good, but
it's not really. No.
He's very old and grumpy now. He sounds kind of
now,
gravelly.
like he hasn't always been old and grumpy.
He wasn't always old.
Even as a younger man, he came across as old and grumpy.
Next up, mum producer Big Talk and Ray Donovan writer Sean Conway are to adapt Ted Thompson's African noir novel Making Wolf for television. So it's called Making Wolf. The ITV-owned producer and the British writer are working on the drama adaptation of the book, which will be published by Constable in paperback in May 2020. So this is another one where the book's not even out. It's like
it's not even close.
Yeah, it's like 8 months away or whatever it is. So someone's going to do the math and make me look a fool. But I just did that off the top of my head.
Well, May's the 5th month, so I mean like 6 and a bit, maybe 7 at a push.
7 and a bit. We got all December as well.
Yeah, so May, at the end of May is 5
you're right.
months.
You're right. Okay. Okay, 6 and a bit. 6 and a bit. The book from Rosewater author Thompson tells the story of Weston Kogi, a London security guard who returns to his West African home country and thinks telling people that he works as a homicide detective is a harmless hyperbole. However, he is kidnapped and forced by 2 separate rebel factions to investigate the murder of a local hero, Papa Busey. And that's not Busey as in Gary Busey, it's B-U-S-I.
I assumed it was, and I refrained from making any sort of Busey-related joke.
But I said it out loud and went, well, that sounds kind of like Busey, as if I'm saying Gary Busey. But, not that I think you were mistaking Papa for Gary, but just that the last name was...
hey, I mean... He is the papa of the Buseys.
He is, yes. He's got a son. Jake Busey is his son. That's true. So I bet he calls him Papa Busey.
If he doesn't, he really should.
If he doesn't, his grandson should. Like his son, Jake's son, should call. Gary Papa Busey. Solving the crime may tip a country on the brink of civil war and cost Weston his life. So it's actually kind of an interesting premise. Actually, once it got going there, he goes back home and. They
kind
try
of tucks himself up a little to look like a big shot, and then they go, well, hey, we can use that, and he's in way over his head. I mean, that could be interesting. Yeah,
it's almost like a more serious version of the Army of Darkness, where Bruce Campbell pretends to be this big shot in the past. And like, you can save us, you can save us. There's an element of that there. I'm sure it's much more serious and more of a thriller, but...
I get where you're coming from, yeah.
Next up. New Republic Pictures, Brian Oliver and producer Bradley J. Fisher have acquired the exclusive rights to all the works in Michael Moorcock's seminal fantasy horror series, The Elric Saga. They're beginning to shop the property for series, with Glenn Mazzara from Walking Dead and The Shield, and Prison Break and Star Trek Discovery's Von Wilmot attached to adapt the sci-fi fantasy tale. I read Glenn Mazzara and thought they were talking about the kid from Stranger Things because he's got a very similar name from memory.
Oh yeah, okay.
But no, it's a writer from these these two shows, along with this other guy, Vaughn from Star Trek and Prison Break. So there's a bit of, fluff here, but the Elric stories are Moorcock's best-selling works, a series of complex layered novels that take place across multiple dimensions of reality and alternative universes. It was Moorcock himself who coined the word multiverse. Oh. I did not know that. Which tells me that this is not a book that's coming out next year. This is a book that was written a long time ago. Right away. It's a fictional concept in his 1963 novel, The Sundered Worlds, a now common term used to describe the broader worlds of movies and television franchises from Marvel and DC to Stephen King and Star Wars. Is there a multiverse of Star Wars?
No.
Yeah, okay.
No. I think what they're referring to an expanded universe there,
sure.
And kind of mixing the two together is what I can assume.
Yeah, Marvel, DC, and Stephen King, I get all those multiverse.
But even when they're talking about Marvel, they're specifically talking about the movies, and I think they're just talking about the connected universe, the shared universe of that, rather than an actual multiverse, as we're thinking it in terms of, science fiction.
I bet that's what the writer meant, though, is what we think of multiverse.
Probably. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't think it would have caught on in the way that it did.
Of course, the one that they've left out there on that list, if you want to bring up all the prominent, multiverses, is of course the the lame horror film Wish Upon, in which the love interest of the main character, the love interest of the guy, main character is a girl, he tries to impress her by talking about how much he loves multiverses. He says, "Are you into multiverses?" And it's a stunning sequence of teen romance and drama and excitement. And everyone should go watch Wish Upon. Not for that scene, honestly. They should watch Wish Upon for the final minute where something really funny happens to end the movie, and it's worth the 90 minutes of crap for that laugh at the end, because you will laugh.
Is it really, though?
No, you will. If you go through all that pain, the laugh will be funnier. I promise it will be. Or go watch me and Tim talk about it on Screams After Midnight, or listen to it on the Screams After Midnight audio podcast feed. Whatever one tickles your fancy.
God, you're a shill tonight.
Yes. Or check out the science fiction movie podcast, The Ace.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm getting the feed run, but it's just backwards, isn't it? It's mirrored on your camera.
It's mirrored, but yeah, I'm wearing an Ace t-shirt for anyone who's not seeing that.
That logo makes a half decent t-shirt, to be fair. You
can go get your Ace or Streams or Mail Fuzz TV and general merchandise, a spread shirt. There's both US and UK stores in the description. So
yeah, the Mild Fuzz logo hoodie is not bad.
Yeah, I also have that too. It's very nice. Yeah. So here's the description of this saga. Fisher and New Republic see the Elric saga, which begins with the 1972 novel Elric of Melniboné, as having a cross-platform franchise potential. They're leading to TV series with Mazzara and Wilmot. The novels are sensual and atmospheric sword and sorcery tales that center on the title character, a brooding albino warrior who presides over an unruly, decadent island nation. The novels follow Elric on a series of adventures in which he is betrayed by his cousin, sent into exile, and attempts to come to terms with his own humanity. The series comprises of 11 novels, well, they get plenty of goddamn material to mine from, a number of short stories, and has been adapted into several comics and graphic novels. So, interesting. And this is also interesting, is that Mazzara right now is currently executive producing and writing the Dark Tower series for MRC and Amazon. So
is that still happening?
So yeah, that's apparently still a thing. Although I don't think it's connected to the movie now. I think it's just its own separate thing.
Joe, because that was the first thing that sprung to mind when they said cross-platform potential. I'm like, yeah, sure, because that ever bloody works out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's literally not happened yet. Arguably, the first real success of it will be when these Disney Plus Marvel shows happen and they work. And in that case, okay, it's kind of working now.
Yeah. Or what would end up being quicker is if something or someone in The Mandalorian shows up in Rise of Skywalker. That would technically beat them to the punch, but probably the Marvel ones realistically.
Yeah. I think Yeah, especially if it's just like an Easter egg in that movie, you know, in Skywalker, because I feel like the Marvel ones, because like these characters are definitely going to be on the big teams when they happen again, they feel a bit more ingrained into it.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, there are things in even the last couple of Star Wars movies that have taken from various TV shows. Solo, in particular, the ending reveal, which I don't know if Pete even knows. I'm sure he does by now. It was kind of their equivalent to their Thanos moment at the end of the Avengers. It's like, oh, look who's here.
Mm.
Was something that was taken from Clone Wars. I mean, don't get me wrong, it works fine in context of the movie. It's a bit shocking, perhaps, but that's kind of the point. But it is it's established in another medium.
All right, the favorite and the Lobster director, Yorgos Lanthimos, if I'm pronouncing that right, is set to direct and executive produce an adaptation of The Man in the Rockefeller Suit, based on Mark Siegel's New York Times best-selling non-fiction book, which has been developed as a limited series at Searchlight Television. Written by David Gilbert, based on the book The Man in the Rockefeller Suit, The Astonishing Rise and Spectacular Fall of a Serial Imposter. The limited series tells the adaptation... The limited series adaptation tells the true story of Clark Rockefeller, a gregarious, successful, and mysterious descendant of the Rockefeller clan. When his wife Sandra begins to suspect that Clark isn't who he says he is, his decades-long web of deception slowly begins to unravel. That sounds okay, actually.
It does. Honestly, even if that premise had just been boring, generic shite, I'd have been in, because I really like The Lobster. Like, I like that a lot. And The Favourite, I love. It's one of my top, like, 2 or 3 movies from last year. It's incredible. So I'd have been kind of in just, on that alone.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the quirky... I've not seen The Favourite, but The Lobster, obviously, I've seen was very quirky. I can see the quirky humour of his playing well into this imposter in this family kind of dynamic. I can see that really playing up.
I think you'd enjoy The Favourite. I know, you look at it and you see period piece, right? And that kind of puts you off, I think. And I can see why, but it's so surrealist comedy that I think you'd actually really quite enjoy it.
That's fair. Next up, CW is developing Midnighters, a drama based on the Alloy sci-fi fantasy book series by Scott Westerfield. The adaptation hails from Blind Spot co-executive producer Chris Pozzebon. So, penned by Pozzebon. That's Pozzebon, for anyone who's wondering what I'm trying to say.
Zeds, okay. I always thought you were like, it was like an S.
No. Pozzebon.
Okay. You got a lot of good names tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, a lot of fun names. Pozzebon. It almost sounds like you're like someone, like a kid or someone's trying to say it's possible. It's Pozzebon. It's possible.
Yeah.
So in CW's Midnighters, on your 29th birthday, an estranged brother and sister discover they're Midnighters. I hate this already. A chosen few.
So CW.
A chosen few born at the stroke of. No, if anything, I'm like surprised they're 29. I to change it to like 23 or something like that for CW. But so a chosen few born at the stroke of midnight with access to the magical 25th hour.
Stop right there. They're twins. They can't both have been born on the stroke of midnight.
I didn't say they're twins.
Did someone say they were siblings?
Brother and sister. I didn't say they're twins.
Well, they're both 29.
Okay, fair. But who says it happens at the same time though? Maybe like one gets it a year first. Maybe they just happen to be born the same time.
I feel like you're really stretching this now, because that is definitely not the implication that is given in that first part.
Look, maybe there's a window. Maybe it's like midnight to 5 past, right?
See, now they're stretching the rules already.
Look, I've not read the stupid book. I don't know how to explain it. Like, just let me finish the goddamn description. Right.
Fine.
So they have because of this, they have access to a magical 25th hour each day that their kind can use to dramatic, comedic, and poignant advantage. Ultimately, they learn their destiny is to protect the world from an ancient evil that has been trapped inside the 25th hour for centuries and is about to break free.
Honestly,
Thoughts?
There was a point where it sounded like there's an episode of American Dad where the dad makes it so he never needs to sleep, and he just does all this amazing stuff overnight, and his wife gets pretty jealous, and Yeah, it's a whole thing. And there was a point where it kind of sounded like that, like, oh, you get an extra hour every day to do whatever the hell you want to do. Go, take up a new hobby for every, and learn, do lessons of languages or whatever for an hour each day that you couldn't do before. But then it went into ancient evil trapped inside an hour. Like, what? Piss off, CW.
I don't even hate the hour that no one else gets thing. As a concept, I don't hate that, but everything else about it screams everything I hate about.
I'm still annoyed about the twins. the whole born on the stroke of midnight, which would be fine if they weren't siblings that are clearly both supposed to be 29.
How about this? They're not related by blood. They're both being born at the same time in the same hospital, and an accident takes out all their parents, so they're both adopted by the same family. So they're brothers and sisters through adoption, but they're both born at the exact same minute.
Adoption's a good answer.
There you go.
I mean, they didn't have to be a tragic accident. They didn't even have to be born in the same hospital. They could have both just been adopted at some point.
Both adopted, yes.
No, if you just said that was a good answer. I'll take that.
They're adopted. Maybe there'll be a twist. Maybe there'll be a twist. Like,
or what if
they were conjoined?
Maybe. I was just going to go as far as to say, what if the mother had access to the 25th hour, and they were actually born in the 25th hour? That counts because it's still midnight.
No,
so
I've got it. C-section. They both come out at the same time of a C-section.
I thought that, but they don't. But the C-section, you still have to take one and then the other.
All right, okay.
Because that did cross my mind.
The doctor cuts a bigger hole this time. I don't know. What?
If anyone cares enough to Google this for us, let us know.
Clearly, I'm not a doctor. No doctors be taking my advice there, right? Don't be cutting bigger holes. Don't be doing it. Next up, NBC has put in development Epidemic, a drama from David Titcher. This is the point of the night I'm at. It's because the first half of his last name is the word tit. I'm laughing at Titcher.
It's not even that late by our standards.
Creator of the Librarian franchise.
I like the Librarian.
Oh, do you? I'm not familiar with it. I'm familiar with Rupert Giles, the librarian from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But...
Yeah, whatever. But I know there was Librarian movies. I never watched any of those. I jumped up the TV show, which ironically had oh god, what's his character's name in Angel? One of the lawyers.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Lindsay.
Thank you. He was the main character, so you could have gone through that link and actually had a nice natural link with the show I was referring to. But you didn't know. You didn't think about it. You just leapt to Giles.
That's just Giles is more memorable than Lindsay is. He's Rupert Giles. He's the Watcher. He's the Ripper.
I'm not arguing this. I'm saying you could have had a more nuanced, subtle reference.
Bite me. Alright, Epidemic revolves around Nicole Summers and Daniel Golden, two superstar doctors. I hate it. Two superstar doctors within a special investigative division of the CDC who recruit the nation's best medical students and travel the world solving diseases nobody can figure out.
This is so network.
It's like even the doctors are detectives. This is what it is. Maybe the actress that was on a Swamp Thing can be in this. It can
Honestly,
be a spin-off.
I was thinking that, yeah.
It can be a spin-off of Swamp Thing. She's just doing other normal diseases now.
yeah. The Swamp Thing got cancelled, so she's like, I'll just go back to my normal job. Next
up, NBC is put in development Escape.
What was the last one called again?
Epidemic.
They've got a theme going on here.
Yes. Escape is an action thriller drama based on the 2015 Russian series called Quest. The original Russian text is also there, but I'm not even going. I don't even know how to do those vowels.
I have no idea. Make a guess and just
Kisham. In Soviet Russia, I can't even do this.
I love how wrong that almost certainly was.
Quest. That's the original Russian. Quest.
That's as good as it gets, is it?
I was watching on the television Quest. I can't do a Russian accent.
You kind of slipped into German almost as you went on there.
I keep wanting to do Borat. I keep wanting to just do Borat.
Look, That's just generic Eastern European.
I know.
Stop getting offensive.
I was watching Quest on TV. Have I? I have a television. So
this is a loopy episode this week.
Apparently it is, yeah. Written by Ning. Jason Ning, that is, who's also a producer. Who worked on Lucifer. He's writing the show. In Escape, when 6 complete strangers wake up on the roof of a building in San Francisco, they're told they have 36 hours to live unless they can solve a series of deadly games set throughout the city. So it's a little bit of Saw, but it sounds like it's actually more like Die Hard with a Vengeance. It sounds like a bit of Simon Says from that movie, where they're running through the set to get to the next game, and then because it might not be like torture trap things like Saw, it might be more puzzles. Yeah. Honestly, this actually sounds like it could be a fun show. I'm not also trusting network TV to do it properly, but this is the sort of thing, if it had been made like in the 90s or the 80s, I might have really liked this.
Is this NBC?
NBC
Still, like, don't get me wrong, like they're not the best necessarily, but I think they've got more potential than some of the other networks for a bit more freedom. Like if you look at, just for example, something like Hannibal existed on NBC.
Yep, there's a photo of the original Russian show at the top of the article, and
does it look amazing?
I feel like I'm looking at first of all, they're the most Russian looking bunch of people I've ever seen. Secondly, they look like they're standing on like the top of Reactor 4 clearing the graphite off, because they're all wearing like these beige overalls. So I'm getting Chernobyl flashbacks.
Do you know what would have improved Chernobyl?
Nothing, because it's perfect.
No. No. Do Chernobyl, but in the style of Comrade Detective.
No, Chernobyl's a serious thing. I'm not having you sell it, but that was funny. And last up, in fact, our final story of the week. Fox has given a poop pilot commitment to an hour-long medical drama inspired by the world-renowned neurologist and best-selling author Oliver Sacks. From Blindspot executive producer Alex Berger, director-producer Lee Toland-Krieger, and Fabric Entertainment. So, written by Berger and directed by Krieger, the untitled Oliver Sacks medical project is inspired by Sacks' books The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat and An Anthropologist on Mars. Those are good titles. I'm going to give this doctor nothing else. Those titles are funny.
And why didn't they just go working title Anthropologist on Mars?
Yes. Although I think The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat is funny.
No, I agree it's funny. I think it's too long for a TV show title, though.
Mistook His Wife for a Hat. There you go.
That'll do. Yeah.
I've shortened that a bit. So it's a medical drama, the character-driven medical drama that explores magic and wonder of the human brain, part medical mystery, part character study. The project is a hopeful story about the power of empathy as a tool for healing.
I hate this. I don't want stupid positivity in my TV shows. Get out of here.
Oh, so good. All right, that's the news. We've been on a bit of a gauntlet here, so we'll wrap up by saying, obviously Mandalorian, Watchmen, and Mr. Robot episodes all went out this week in reviews. Mr. Robot especially was a biggie, and had a lot of comments, a lot of feedback, which is always nice to see.
It was a great episode.
Watchmen also had a really good episode, and Mandalorian probably had its best episode yet. So all in all,
pretty good week.
Pretty solid. If you've been paying attention to the audio feed, where we have been continuing Raising Dion, episodes 7 and 8 both went up in the past week, so there's just one left for the audio feed for Raising Dion. That's the almost cancelled Netflix reviews audio feed. So if you're looking forward to that, the finale will be relatively soon, and by soon I mean sometime this week. That's what I mean.
In theory, yeah.
Yes. So that's the thing. So yeah, is there anything starting next week? I don't think there is, but
there is.
There's. Oh, okay.
There is.
What's
on
starting?
Thursday, which I don't know what date that is. Servant, which I believe is the Shyamalan
the
Apple show.
The Shyamalan one, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was intentionally getting his name wrong there. I wasn't.
I know.
I was doing a bit. Do you
know what? The problem is it was a bit too believable after you got so many names wrong in this show.
But hey, so we'll try that. The Not the Boy TV show, and we'll see how it is. So But yeah, that's the only thing that's coming. Otherwise, business as usual in the next week. Of course, check out the other podcasts we have. We have Streams After Midnight. We have the Sci-Fi Movie Podcast, the Atomic Cinema Experiment, which I am repping with my shirt today. And the reason why I'm pointing it out today twice is because I just got it today, which is why I'm making a point of saying, hey, look at my shirt. So you can go check out the movie podcast, check out the comic book TV podcast, and the comic book podcast, Comics from the Multiverse. These are all things we have. You can support us. Of course, we mentioned Patreon earlier in the middle of the show. Go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. But if you want to support us in free ways, you can do that by liking, subscribing, commenting. Comments of any kind do help. Dinging the bell on YouTube to make sure you get notifications. Sharing us on social media, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. That's the one I meant to say. Tinder. So that is how you can support us, so go do that. Otherwise though, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?